Optavia has blessed your life. And so if anyone would like to come off of mute and share just a few seconds, one reason that Optavia has made your life better. Who would like to share? And again, official welcome to Healthy Together Time. You're in the right spot. I'm excited to see you and talk with you tonight. And my name is Kirtley Freckleton. I am a certified Optavia coach and I've been coaching for 8 years. All right, would anyone like to come off mute or put in the chat thread how Optavia has made their life better?
And if you'd like to share, you're going to have your video on and also raise your hand. So this is under the reactions button, and just do the raise hand feature, and then I'll go ahead and unmute you.
Jenny's saying, I've officially lost 90 pounds. I exercise most days and I feel happier. That's fantastic. Chantel, do you want to come off mute and share how Optavia has made your life better? I see you, so I'm going to pick on you.
Sure. Oh my goodness, in so many ways. But recently I just got back from a trip to Costa Rica for 8 days. And I'll tell you, like, being in a weird country and not the foods that you're used to, it was incredible though, the things that I've learned with the habits of health and how to have long-term health. I put them all into play, where even though I was traveling, I still did all the simple healthy habits. I came back feeling amazing. I had so much energy. So I just felt good when I travel, and that's what you want while you travel, right?
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Chantel. It's neat to see how your life has gotten so much better. Tiffany, I see you. I'm going to pick on you, girlfriend. How has your life been better because of Optavia? And then we'll get started after this. Tiffany Turner. Yep.
Thanks, Kirtley. It's just taught me things that I never really, I knew, but you just don't think about very often. You take for granted. And I think mindset for me is the most important thing, because you just don't get this kind of training and education anywhere else. And there are so many weird programs and things out there that it's nice to feel safe and comfortable with this one, knowing that it's all medically derived and it's all approved, and it does such amazing things for us, not just our physical body, but our mental body.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Tiffany. I appreciate it. Okay, well, I'm going to get started and share my screen here. All right. Okay, so just in the beginning, a lot of you here are clients and you are pros, you know what to do. And a lot of people here, some of you aren't familiar with exactly how Optavia works. And so just going to go over the 4 components briefly of how Optavia works. Is each client, you get a health coach. See that on the left? Oh, one second. And I like to call my clients each week just a quick to touch base about the life book. And that is in that next circle right there. And that the life book and Dr. A's Habits of Health, that's a curriculum that we go over to learn the 6 macro habits of healthy living. And that's healthy hydration, that's healthy eating, that's healthy surroundings, healthy weight, healthy sleep, healthy movement, healthy mind. Amazing things to learn so you see the overall picture of optimal holistic health. And the next one is our Optavia community. You are witnessing part of that amazing culture that we have, and we have a neat Facebook group that you can interact with. And then the last one is our scientifically designed fuelings. We have an incredible meal plan that has over 30 years of clinical studies to back it. Very simple. We start with 1 habit at a time and build so you can gain more skills with eating healthy for life. So that is the basics. And if you're still kind of confused, reach out to the person that invited you if you'd like more information there.
Hey, Kirtley, I'm seeing an extra box that's covering your slide that says slide 1 of 76 speaker notes.
Oh, good to know. Okay, thank you. That was not supposed to be seen.
You bet.
Okay, thanks. All right. Okay, so we are going to jump into our topic today, which is summer social eating. I have a question for you guys. Who put a Y in the chat thread for who has an event this weekend? or this week that you are going to? A lot of people. And what are you worried about, if anything? Some of you are worried, and some of you don't care. So let's share what you might be worried about. We've got a lot of yeses, a ton of people. Summer is so active, so socially active. All right, Jerry Lynn, someone else is cooking, my surroundings. Someone want me to eat the same food that they're eating, staying on plan, not enough choices. They won't have anything I can eat. Desserts, what about camping food? Okay, you guys are awesome. I ask you now, how would you like social events to feel like? When you're thinking about going and imagining yourself at a social event, what would that look like for you? Some might say, I want it to be less stress, more comfortable. I don't want to be stressed out about food. So imagine that. Imagine your optimal healthy person at healthy self at a social event and how you like that to be. And that's how you can work on becoming that person. All right, I want to introduce the amazing Jenny Boone, who has an incredible story, and she's going to give us some tips on social events, and she has been through this herself. So Jenny, I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Thanks, Kirtley. I'm excited to be here tonight. My name is Jenny Boone, and I am an independent certified Optavia coach, as well as a registered nurse. I have been a client for 1 year and a coach for about 9 months. My story started when my mom died in 2019. I was stuck in a dark place, weighing about 295 pounds and feeling absolutely miserable. A family friend reached out about Optavia, and I was resistant at first, but decided to try with my sister starting in July of 2020. During this time, I learned that my dad was going to remarry less than a year after my mom's passing. Their wedding was held in September of 2020, just 2 short months into my Optavia journey. I was about 40 pounds down by that point and was feeling really good about my progress. But I knew that wedding event was going to be really hard for me. And there were so many big feelings around the situation. I was grateful for my dad's happiness because he had suffered so much and had found companionship for himself. I was also heartbroken and confused because I was grieving the loss of my mom and their relationship. It was really complicated, as you can imagine. In the past, I would have justified eating all the things because of those feelings, and I didn't have the coping skills to handle them. But this time was different because I was already making changes in my health habits. I called my dad and asked him what food was being served so I could plan ahead, which included some yummy cauliflower tacos. And I learned that the cake was store-bought, which meant I wasn't missing out on much. I talked to my coach and asked for any tips to get me through the event. I also did some processing of emotions with my therapist, reminding myself frequently that these feelings are all expected and all appropriate. I felt all my feelings that day and enjoyed the opportunity to be with my family, all while keeping my health and goals a priority. With good tools and support, I made it through that event and have since gone on to lose 90 pounds while surviving more social eating opportunities. It is possible to attend social events while living a healthy lifestyle, and we're going to talk more about that tonight. So, one of the most important parts of living a healthy lifestyle is the decisions you make before you even have to actually make the decision. When you are headed to an event where social eating is involved, decide beforehand how you want the event to go, like Kirtley said. Make the choice and have a game plan for yourself. Are there big feelings around the event? Try to make time before the event to process those feelings. Talk to a trusted friend or your coach about those feelings. For you coaches out there, make sure to check in with your clients by asking them, do you have any events coming up this week that I can help you plan for? That's a really great way to open the conversation and offer some tips. Clients, you can also bring that up with your coaches as well because they have lots of tips to share. Is there some way you can advocate for yourself by offering to bring a dish to share or talking with the host about the menu beforehand? If you are eating out, suggest a place to go that you know you can eat at, which we will talk about in a minute. Don't be afraid to speak out and advocate for yourself. Your health is important, and you may be surprised that you are not the only person who's trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle at that event, which is always fun to have that support. So part of advocating for yourself is knowing what to say. It can be really tricky in social settings because you don't want to offend someone. Preempting the situation can be helpful by putting it out there before you arrive at the event, like this statement. So you could text your friend or call them and say, hey, I'm really excited to see you on Friday. I just wanted to give you a heads up that I am working on some health goals with a coach, and I may choose to not eat some items, but it doesn't mean I don't appreciate the effort people put in to make it. I'd love to bring a salad to share. It's easier to avoid offense when you've already set up the expectation before you arrive. So speaking of being proactive, let's talk about the dining out guide. Put a 1 in the chat if you know how to find the Optavia dining out guide, or you have used it before. This is a great tool that I recommend bookmarking on your phone so you can suggest places to eat out for a date night or with friends or even for work events. I see a lot of ones in the chat, which means many of you know where to find the guide and have probably used it at some point. If you don't know where to find this guide, search online for Optavia Dining Out Guide or ask your coach to help you. In preparation for tonight, we've polled a bunch of coaches for their favorite places to eat out and what they typically order. In the chat, share one of your favorite places to eat out. Here are a few suggestions from our coaches, which include Red Robin for a celebration where you can get a lettuce wrapped burger instead of a bun with a side salad. And for date night, you can do Chili's, steak with asparagus and avocado. For a casual event, you could do Chipotle with a burrito bowl. Don't get the beans and rice. I always like to get cauliflower rice with the fajita veggies. And then for Jimmy John's, the unwich is fun. You get a sandwich with lettuce as the bread instead of bread. The Chick-fil-A drive-through is awesome for the summer months because you can get a really good salad. The lemon kale Caesar salad is a go-to for me, as well as getting some extra grilled nuggets to go with it for added protein. And worst case scenario, you just order a lean and green. So ask for a special order not on the menu, and that's totally appropriate. Some of the other things you can read in the chat, let me scroll down here. Habit Burger, Panera, that's really good. I live in a small town, so we don't have those, but Costa Vida is delicious. These are all awesome, great ideas. So hang tight here just a second. Oh, the chat. Okay. So these are all really great ways to plan ahead for social eating opportunities, and deciding where you go beforehand is key. Make the choice of how you want the event to go before you get there. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Kirtley, who will give you some tips on what to do during the event.
Okay, thanks, Jenny. That was so helpful. I lost 30 pounds over 8 years ago, and I maintained it up until I got pregnant last year. And before I got healthy, I had the dieter's mindset, very dieter, and I'll explain that later, but their social events used to scare me so much. I was so worried about what there would be and, and all that, but there's 2 areas that I really worked on to see a big change. And so I wanted to share that as during an event. I'm going to share some transactional skills that are more the outward skills, and then we'll go into the inner skills after that, because there's those 2 I worked with. Is during an event, number 1 tip for me is do not go hungry. On my way over to a party or to a restaurant, I eat food. And the reason is that I want to enjoy food there. I want to eat it with pleasure instead of eating it for survival. How many of you have gotten full off of the appetizers? I know I have. Put a 1 in the chat thread if you've gotten full off the appetizers, because you are so hungry, and then the main dish comes out and it's so beautiful, but you think, oh, I'm not even hungry anymore. It's not going to be as exciting. So don't go starving, go mild and nice so that you can enjoy it and not be in this mad rush to save yourself from starvation. The next one is enjoy the people there. Think about why you're going to the event. You're going there to enjoy the people there, to connect with people, make those memories. And so when you're there, focus on connection instead of the food. And then during an event, also practice mindful eating. This is what I practiced for a while until it became natural for me, is I would eat slowly. I would, without telling anyone, I would have a competition in my head and say, I'm going to be the last one eating my first dish, my first serving. And so I would eat really slow. And a micro versus a macro bite. What I noticed is if I took a small bite, it tasted the exact same as a large bite, but I wasn't getting as many calories. And so try that, taking a small bite and then savor it as long as you can in your mouth. Some fun fact is that when you breathe out with your mouth closed, or you're breathing out of your nose, that's when you taste the most. And so I would keep it in my mouth and breathe out for as many times as I can before swallowing it, so I can really enjoy the food. And then one bite at a time. I used to eat so quickly, and then suddenly my plate was gone. Then I'd go get seconds. And so to force myself to slow down, I would sit on my hands. After I took one bite, I would put my fork down, sit on my hands, chew it, swallow it. Meanwhile, noticing the flavor, the textures, and the different spices in it. And then take a drink of water and then go for the next bite. And those are just some outer skills that I worked on to be a little bit more present while I was eating. And also, I noticed that when I was at events, I would fidget eat. Who knows? Put a Y in the chat thread if you understand what fidget eating is. And so that's when you're just stress eating. You see other people eating, so you need to eat. You kind of mirror people when you see them. Someone else has food in their hand. You feel awkward if you don't have food in your hand. And so bring a water bottle and keep that in your hand, or a glass of water. Sometimes I would get a napkin and rip it apart underneath the table to help my fidgeting, or a straw. Okay, and now let's move on to the mindset shift. Before at social events, it made me so nervous because it was all about what I could not have. And I was worried that there'd be dessert items and that I would eat them, even though I'd promised myself I wouldn't. And I remember at being events and feeling resentful. I was resentful at my decision to lose weight because it meant I couldn't have fun anymore and enjoy the food, do what I wanted to do. But I've changed a lot since then. And that's contributed to why I was able to stay healthy for so long, and still am. I started to take accountability of my decision to being a healthy person. I started to own it, you guys. Optavia, Dr. A teaches that you are the dominant force of your life. You make decisions, and that shows what your future is going to be. Instead of thinking, I can't have that, I'm not allowed to, poor me, I started thinking, I can have that. But do I want that? Ask yourself that and own your decision. And I started thinking, how will it affect me in the long run? What do I want? It's kind of like changing diapers. No one really likes to do it in the moment, but you actually do want to do it because you want your baby to be happy. Own your choice. If you know you have truly owned, when you have really truly owned something, when you don't resent it anymore. And instead of me being angry at events, I was happy and I was peaceful because I was owning my decision. So that's a good test for yourself. Also working through emotions. This is what Amber and Jared went through last week, is what feelings do you get at events? Put in the chat thread some feelings that you often get. So you're going to go to an event tonight. What will you feel? Do you feel stress, anxiety, sadness, loneliness? What do you feel when you go to events? What's a common emotion? And I'll just briefly go through this again is, okay, maybe you can process your emotions before you go, like Jenny did. She's very aware of that. Or maybe while you're there is you identify the emotion. Oh, I'm feeling embarrassed. Oh, I'm feeling stressed. You identify it, then locate it in your body. Where am I feeling that? I'm feeling it in my chest. And then you describe it to yourself. It's just you noticing. It's just you being present with that emotion. And then you shift. And You might just breathe. You might turn and go to a different direction. And then think about, learn the wisdom from it. And if you're feeling stressed, usually that question is, well, what needs to be known? What needs to be known? Well, I need to know that I'm going to be able to say the right thing. I need to know that people won't judge me. I need to know that I can keep my goals. And I like Laurie said, joyful. Joyful, that's a way people overeat as well. And so even processing that emotion is just about being aware. It feels so good to be self-aware. So the next part is stop, challenge, choose. A lot of clients that have been around for a while have this memorized, the whole stop, challenge, choose idea. And that just means you know what you want, but then you have this craving in the moment or this impulse and you stop. It's a moment of awareness and you challenge yourself and ask yourself some questions, and then you choose what matches your long-term goals. And I'm going to give you the food fallacies that I had to learn for myself that often made me go off of my original plan when I went to social events. I asked, okay, am I going for a food fallacy? Is it free? Or, excuse me, my food fallacies were it's free, so I should eat it. It's a rare opportunity. I should eat it. I paid good money for this. I remember being at buffets and thought, man, I paid so much to get in. I got to get my money's worth. But then I changed my mindset because I found out I was getting, no matter how much I ate, I was getting my money's worth because I was going there to fuel my body. I was going there for the ambiance, and I was going there for the people that I was with. I did not go to hurt my body or to feel bloated or tired or sluggish. And I did not pay money to feel like Jabba the Hutt when I left. And so you just go through this and it's challenging your beliefs when you're at social events. Okay. And even the fear of missing out. I can't have fun if I'm not eating all the everything. Ask yourself, what if that wasn't true? What would your life look like if that wasn't true? I'm a foodie. I have to eat all the everything too. Well, I think that when you become more aware and learn how to eat with awareness and presence, you become more of a foodie because you enjoy it better. My favorite quote, don't give up what you want most for what you want now. And you can live with that, live by that, by knowing what you want most. And so make sure the life book, element 1, you're writing down and really understanding what you want most. Because it feels good to look back on your life to see that you purposely made choices to get to where you're at right now, because you're focused on what you want most. And this is often the lesson we teach our children is, oh, you're so impulsive. Don't do that. You know, we look at kids and just laugh at them or get so upset with them because they're making these impulsive decisions based on their feeling in the moment. And so that's what makes us more adult and more conscious as humans, as we can become more aware of that, of our future selves. And so think about that bigger picture is, how will I feel if I do? Ask yourself this question. I like to think about my future self a lot, especially when I'm doing dishes at night and I'd rather go to bed. I think my future self will thank me in the morning when I have a beautiful kitchen. So I'm going to do it. And sure enough, when I wake up, I go, thank you, self, for cleaning up this kitchen. So ask yourself, how will I feel if I do eat this and go off my original plan? How will I feel in an hour? How will I feel tomorrow? What about in a week? Will I feel regret? What about in 3 months? What about in a year from now? And then switch it and think, well, how will I feel if I do stick to plan? How will I feel in an hour? I'll feel proud of myself. What about tomorrow? I'll feel so good. What about in a week? I'm going to see the results. What about in 3 months? I'll be so glad I focused. And a year from now, I'll be living that optimal health that I've been dreaming of. So it comes down to those questions of asking yourself, what do you want most? Live in the future. I'm going to turn it back to the beautiful Jenny Boone to share her coaching story, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Kirtley. Those were all really great tips, and you did an awesome job as always. Put a 2 in the chat if you are more excited about your next social eating event. Kirtley is a huge reason I became a coach, because I always learned so much from her, and I just have become a better person from being around her. So when I started my health journey, I was really nervous about failing and curious about how I was going to succeed long term. So my coach kept mentioning how clients are more likely to keep off the weight when they coach other clients because of the increased accountability. I was really hesitant about becoming a coach. It took me several months to make that choice, but I wanted to make this weight loss stick. I had too much on the line to not be successful, so coaching seemed like a good piece of the puzzle for my journey. And then I found out it would only take a few clients for me to be able to pay for my own program, which was really exciting to me. So little did I know that it would explode into something even bigger that would change my life. At the time, I was a nurse working in a COVID ICU, and I was so burned out. And my paycheck hadn't changed in probably years, and I was feeling really unappreciated. And so I decided to become a coach. I signed up and my business grew so much faster than I expected. I had very low expectations, and all of a sudden it was taking off. So much so that I was able to quit my bedside nursing job just after 6 months of coaching, which was not something I'd ever planned, but I was loving the community and the ways that I was growing and becoming a better person. And because of my coaching community, I've been blessed not only financially, but because I have become a better person, more emotionally aware, and just overall happier. I have continued on my health journey beyond what I was expecting to. You know, a lot of us start something and a few weeks in, bail out because it's hard or uncomfortable or whatever. And now with this, it's been almost a year. It'll be a year on July 23rd of not only losing weight, but also maintaining and continuing my journey. I still get to interact with people like a nurse does, but now these people are getting healthier and thriving instead of watching them suffer in a hospital bed. I am still learning and developing in my profession, learning how lifestyle can be used to improve our health. I continue to feel grateful for the coaching opportunity and coaching community and how it has helped me to prioritize my health, believe in myself, and dream even bigger. So some of you came to this call to learn a little bit more about coaching. So we're going to end our call with some basics of what it could look like to pay it forward to others. So stick around if you're curious about any of these topics, including the secret of how to be 500% more likely to reach and maintain your healthy weight, which is totally what got me thinking about it. How much money do coaches make? That's a really good question. Is it something that could really impact your family and your future? Other info on what it might look like to pay it forward and help others. And otherwise, thank you for joining the Healthy Together time tonight, and we will see you next week.